Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today I wanted to finally take all of my thoughts and feelings about the rank system and the state of matchmaking and kind of put it all into one nice little neat concise video. Now, if you actually haven't seen the videos from Adamocles or Spragels, I definitely recommend those. Definitely check out the links in the description below, as they did a really good job kind of just discussing like the issues of the rank system. And while I do talk about this topic quite a bit on stream, I really did want to just kind of pull all my thoughts together and, you know, talk about the rewards, talk about the matchmaking, the ranks themselves, and how the entire system is working, and kind of build it all into one discussion. So let's talk about the issues. In my opinion, the number one issue plaguing the ranked mode for sure is the matchmaking. The matchmaking is, simply put, way too wide for the ranks to really matter. You know, if you're a veteran player or an ultra player that's just going to get matched up with masters players anyways, well, in a sense, depending on your perspective, you're kind of already a masters player because you're already playing in their games. And the same is said as you kind of go down the rank ladder as well. Like if you're a great player getting matched with like experts and veterans, well, you know, what's the difference? So the simple reality is that this also leads to problems. It's not really that fair if you think about what a ranked mode is set out to achieve. A ranked mode is trying to achieve, you know, like accurately placing players or accurately getting players in a position where their skill is, you know, correlated to their rank. But that doesn't really make sense if the matches are being created with multiple ranks, because now the ranks lose their definition. They lose their barriers, right? You know, I could go on a post, or I could make a post somewhere and say, hey, look, I'm looking for 4 people to join me. I want all masters players, right? And I could do that. But the reality is the game doesn't even do that. The game doesn't allow for those matches to be made. You have to do that yourself. And like I said, I think that the game, the system itself for matchmaking, really kind of degrades and undermines the rankings themselves, because it's not even creating fair and good matches. Now, I do have other issues with the ranked mode in regards to climbing and in regards to losses, and this is the section that I talk about that, you know, I feel like some of these systems really and unintentionally even lead to what I've been calling rank inflation, where I'm going to say it, I feel bad about it, but it's true. I think there are already a lot of players that are way higher ranked than they deserve to be. And that could even include myself, which I'm completely comfortable exploring that possibility. The simple reality is that it doesn't really feel like you need to earn or achieve or understand any kind of fundamental skill sets to be able to improve and rank up in this game. It just kind of feels like you play, and over time you're going to get there. And you know, usually from, you know, an anecdotal point of view, it feels like the majority of the player base is not at the highest level. It always feels that way. Like the majority of players are always toward the center. And in this game, it doesn't really feel that to me. It feels like half the player base is in Masters, or half the player base is Ultra and Masters, which, like I said, mostly create the same games. And it just feels very lopsided. It feels like when every single game has such a variety of skill, then you can rely on no game to deliver a fun and fair match. You know, it just feels very random. And to explain how the matches feel to me, in a nutshell, is it feels like I have a rank attached to a standard match. That's exactly what it feels like. I never know what I'm going to get. I never know if I'll have a good team comp, if players are going to rotate for major objectives, if I'm going to be, you know, stuck with a tank that farms the whole game. You just never know. And it's really bizarre to go into matches like that in a ranked system when, you know, there's supposed to be structure and there's supposed to be high level play, especially when you're at the highest rank. So these systems that I'm talking about for rank inflation are primarily that of performance points, and primarily that of, you know, getting a bot match or whatever whenever you go on a lose streak. These kinds of systems they're quite literally inflating the ranked mode. When you, the simple reality is that everybody deals with the same thing in a solo queue kind of way, right? Bad teammates, we all deal with it. Even whenever the matchmaking is good, you'll still deal with someone that didn't have a good game. So everybody deals with bad teammates. Everybody deals with disconnects every now and then, which sucks. It really does. Everybody deals with the same issues when playing this type of game. So what needs to happen is that the rank system needs to only be changed, or the only variable in the rank system that needs to matter is whether you won or whether you lost. It doesn't matter how good you did as an individual, because it's really, really subjective and hard for a computer program or a ranking system to know how much value a player brought to the table. It doesn't matter if you had a good performance, whatever that means, because again, how is the rank system going to set parameters to know that you had a good performance without some form of human influence, to tell that rank system what your value was? And then that value could actually be more or less depending on the subjective play of the team. Like, yeah, maybe I offlaned and didn't get into a ton of fights, or maybe I was the person that didn't score a whole bunch of goals. Does that mean I played bad, for example? So all this MVP system, all this performance point system, it's all nonsense. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is, did your team play well enough to win? And that is the system that we need. That's the system that every ranked mode needs, with maybe a slight bit of influence, here and there, but it just shouldn't be a lot. And I'm not going to pretend like every great rank system in every game only lands on win and loss, but it almost always is the major variable that should be considered. Now, in terms of performance points or some kind of a boost because you've been doing well, the only thing that I can really see that would be good for the game is maybe win streaking. Like if you're on like a 3 to 5 game win streak, yeah, maybe the rank system can kind of advance you a little bit faster. That's not that big a deal. But if you're losing, and for the game to take performance points and say, oh, well, he didn't really deserve the loss, or for the game to throw you a bot match, out of pity or whatever, to say, oh, well, he's been losing a lot, we should probably give him a bot game. One, it's like condescending and kind of disrespectful to the player. Like, hey man, like, look, yeah, I know I'm losing, but I deserve to lose, and I kind of want to keep playing people. Like, I didn't really sign up for bot matches. And two, it's just bad for the ranked mode. You undermine the structure of the ranked mode when you allow so much nonsense to go on. Now, the other thing that's causing rank inflation, and we already talked about it, is the matchmaking itself. If I'm in vet and I'm playing with someone who's great, and the great player played terribly the whole game, but me and the other teammates kind of carried them to the win, well, guess what? They got carried to the win. And, everybody kind of deals with this good and bads on both sides. So, maybe a vet player got pulled down because a great player didn't do very good on the opposing side of that. But my point is that it can lead to rank inflation. It probably is leading to rank inflation, and it's probably leading to some people not necessarily not being able to climb, because I think that anybody can climb in this game, but it's like slowed them down some, if that makes sense. So what I'm saying is that the matchmaking is just bad for the ladder. It's bad for the ranks. It's bad for the identity of trying to have a skill range be defined in this game. And on top of bot matches and performance points, it's all bad. And maybe they could just tone it back, or maybe they could get rid of a lot of the fluff and get rid of that nonsense. But the reality is that we just need a system that looks at whether or not you won and whether or not you lost. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about rewards in a second, but I want to touch on probably my last big issue with the ranking system, and something that I think 100% needs to change. And this was outlined pretty well in other people's video, but it's a simple kind of like head scratching deal when you realize just how much of a 5-stat game ranked is. It is this game mode, the way that it's built out, not even just the game mode itself, but the ladder system is built that if you're not on a 5-man, it's kind of pointless to play. And that's just the simple reality of it. You can climb solo, but it's so RNG based on whether or not you had good matchmaking at the time to be able to have enough influence. Like, I don't know, maybe some pro player or competitive player will disagree with me on this part, but it just doesn't feel worth it, even if you can climb solo. Like, I'm a solo player. I think I'm pretty good. If I was to play on a team, I'd probably climb consistently, but I mostly play like solo, duo, or trio. And I just teeter-totter between like 1100 and 1300, which is a big swing, but it just depends on the week, I guess, and I'm just going up and down for no reason at all. And meanwhile, you have all these teams, these 5-stat groups that are getting to like 2200 and 2300, and it's like, one, I can't compete with that literally in game because I'm sick of being paired against 5-mans as a non-5-man group. And yes, I have evidence of this. I posted it on Twitter the other day. Me and Lush in a duo queue got paired against a 5-man, which is unwinnable. It's 100% an unwinnable game. And then on top of that, just the reality is that, like, if I even wanted to try to rank on the leaderboard, I would have to be in a 5-man all the time. every day, and I don't want that. And I'm gonna dare say that the majority of the player base is not 5-man groups. So they either need to split queues for 5-man teams and like duo, solo, duo kind of a queue, or they need to separate the leaderboards, or they need to make it to where like Ultra and Masters are only solo duo queue. They got to do something, because having the highest side of the ranked ladder be dominated by teams, it's just not fun. And I know there's going to be, there always is, there's going to be someone that's like, well, man, I really like playing with my friends, and I get that. But you have to look at what's healthy for the game, and you have to look at the majority of the player base. And the reality is that you and your 5-man group of friends are not the majority. Y'all are in the minority, and the rest of the player base deserves to have fun too. So if you want to play with your friends, you can do custom scrims. If you want to play with your friends, you can do standard matches. If you want to play with your friends, maybe you can queue up on the 5-man only ranked ladder if they were to make it. And if you want to play with your friends in ranked, then maybe you just realize that the game is meant to be fun and fair for everyone, so you play solo duo queue and you kind of split your friends up a little bit. I don't know. That's just kind of my perspective on the whole I want to play with my friends when it comes to the ranking mode, because other people want to play and have fun no matter what their friend situation is, and that's kind of me as well. So now let's quickly talk about rewards. Now, I know that we're going to be getting these ticket rewards at the end of the season. Masters rank is really the only one I know. I'm going to be honest. It's probably 20,000 and it just decays down a little bit each rank. But 20,000 tickets for Masters rank, which I think is great. But we were talking about it a little bit last night on stream. I want prestigious rewards. And I don't know if they'll ever do this, but maybe this is just the beginning of the discussion to persuade them if they ever listen to my videos. I want rewards for my banner, for my profile. I want a title that tells me that I ended Season 1 Master rank. I want, a sticker for the logo of Season 1 or something. I want prestigious rewards that are... I like exclusive rewards personally. I like exclusive cosmetics. If they ever wanted to give out like a skin, maybe they could give a skin out for like the top 1% of players, or the top 5% of players, or something that got a special holoware that's exclusive to rank that doesn't ever come back. Like, I love exclusivity, and prestige is the word that I always use when talking about a ranked mode. I want for the ranked mode to feel prestigious, like, oh wow, like look at what that guy had achieved. Look at that border. Do you see that? Isn't that the Season 1 master border? Like, you see my point, and I love things like that. So realistically, I don't think we'll have anything like that, at least not right away. And I'm excited to get my tickets, right? That's a pretty decent incentive to hit master rank, but in my opinion, to wrap everything up, it just feels like once you hit Masters, the game just is kind of pointless to try to grind ranked mode unless you're a 5-man team. Your rank really doesn't matter whether you're 1200 or 900 or, even up to like 1400. It doesn't matter, because all the teams are going to be in the 1800s to the 2000s anyways. And, well, as the minority of the player base, they just dominate the entire ladder. So with bad matchmaking and solo queue, with, inflated ranks and silly systems, just kind of feels like the rank experience is pretty bad, like really bad. It's pretty pointless, but the gameplay is great, and I have faith that this can be fixed, and that's why I talk a lot about these issues, so we can get it in the pipeline. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like I said, I know I have talked about this quite a bit, especially if you come to the live streams, but I love sharing my opinions and wanted to get this dialogue going. So as always, friends, be sure to be kind to one another, tell someone that you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.